This seems oddly familiar. Hello and welcome back everyone to the Powder Toy, where today we're going to be going through my top 10 maps, because I've never actually made it clear which maps I like on this game, even though I covered tons of them in my past. There are some maps that just go one step beyond the rest, and they're kind of famous as well. But look, my favorite one is already here. Oh, this is an upgraded version. Let's go to the front page and get number 1, Body Fee 5. This is definitely my favorite map by far in the Powder Toy, taking the number 1 slot because everything about it is just uniquely the Powder Toy. We have great usage of the different types of powders in almost every way, starting out with our electrical stuff. We have a heart rate monitor, brain monitor, even this thing that can tell if he's dead. It all uses a lot of really intricate and awesome machinery. And then obviously we have the actual human, who, by the way, bleeds and you can just mess with, and like if you cut his spine off, he'll die. That's just... the utility in that is fantastic. We've got weapons here that we can test out against him. Just everything has been thought out with this, and it gives you a ton of room to play around with what is basically a human body in the Powder Toy. It was definitely a huge piece of inspiration for my mod as well, creating things, biology in the Powder Toy. I mean, this is kind of like the spark of that. It's just, look, he's been annihilated. He's only a few pixels now. It's just a good time. I really suggest Body Fee 5 if you want to blow some time and do some damage to the human physique. Number 2 is also on this page, which is going to be the Realistic Planet and Moon. This has been a fantastic map for just playing around, especially with my custom stuff. It is just so much fun to put just a tiny little bit. Where did I put it? Yes, my molten nihonium. If I just put a tiny bit in the center of the planet, it's so much fun to just watch the entire Earth just heat up and melt into the center. And there's so many other things you can do with this as well. There's a lot of little Easter eggs, like the hidden deuterium down here. There's little cities. We have the International Space Station. And then you have the moon. And because of the gravitational simulation of this game, when things happen on Earth, it can actually affect the moon and vice versa. Like, what if the moon was really hot? Like, let's just melt the entire thing. Fantastic in play. And then it crashed into the Earth. Well, we can simulate exactly that. And I mean, it's not exactly accurate, but it's a whole lot of fun. Look at the oceans dissolve, the cities are melting, the forests are catching on fire. It is just a good time. What can I say? All right, next favorite, I'm going to have to say, is the volcano map, which is also on the... wow, everyone likes the same maps as me. I thought it was going to be a lot of searching for these maps, but apparently it's quite easy to find. The Volcano Maker is an excellent simulator in this game. There's so many different things that you can simulate in the Powder Toy, but this really takes the cake for just being an absolute fun time. You can just allow this to go and build a volcano slowly as the lava gets generated, and it causes, you know, absolute destruction. It's way more fun though if you try to contain the lava. There's a lot of different strategies you could try to use to try to save the outside world. I mean, I'm here using an awful strategy of just trying to stick metal on top of it. But you can go ahead and try your hand at trying to save the world from the massive lava hole that's being formed. Can you do it? Maybe. Maybe you can. Who am I to judge? I think you're capable of anything you put your mind to, random YouTube person, because you are cool. All right, let's go on to number 4. This is where things get a little bit more complicated because we're no longer on here. At least I don't think we're on here. Let me check through and see if I can find it. No, it's gonna be Bunker City. 100%. Bunker City has been just an absolutely fantastic map since the very beginning. the bunker is just strong enough that it is extremely challenging to puncture into it, and at the same time, it is so much fun when you finally break through. Obviously, I cheated and used more destructive bomb, but if I were to use like a more normal way of trying to get in, like building a massive pile of plutonium and then setting it off, it's not easy to get through this boundary, and when you do, it feels fantastic. Very well designed map to not be impossible to break into, but challenging at the very least. And the way it's put together, I mean, there are so many Easter eggs, there's so many things moving around, the detail is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Every single part of this map had a lot of thought put into it. I'm very, very happy with how that map turned out. Alright, the next few I'm going to have to think about, so give me a moment. I've made my decision. It's gonna be, I can't really choose one of these, but definitely Seek's. His ships are absolutely fantastic, from the design on the outside, the color scheme, to the fact that you can turn off decoration and then you can see the inside of the ships. And not only that, the ships are functional, they have weapons that you can actually fire, and it's so much fun to destroy these. It is a really, really good time. Especially considering that it's usually just ridiculous how easy it is to destroy them if you give it some effort. But it's a fun time destroying these. You know, the way they fall apart, the way all of the flammable things in them catch on fire, the different parts of the ship are just so well placed to explode, and you get some fantastic reactions out of just even the smallest puncture of the hull. Which is realistic. If you have a spaceship and you poke a hole in it, it's going to be disastrous. No matter how well you try. Boom. Alright, let's give it a little bit more thermite action in here. Ah. Oh, I love just the flow. This game is so fantastic. The simulation. It's so good. Alright, so next up, we're going to be looking, I think I actually saw it when I searched bunker. Number 6, can I find it? Number 6, can I find it? Ah, Imperatus City. I love these maps. They're just a ton of fun, and really, I'm going to rate them all as number 6 because they're just all so good. I don't really have a specific one that I choose over the other ones. When it comes to just futuristic cities that you can have a ton of fun with, it is a really good time. There's a ton you can do with these. You can, you know, simulate disasters. You can simulate attacks between this and other things. And I mean, if I were to get into my stamps, oh, I don't have my stamps on here. I can stick a big old flag on it though and be real offensive to the Imperatus, because now I've stuck my flag on their land. That's got to be like some sort of crime. Brilliant. Now, of course, I do love the cities that have been made after my own country, and they have all been fantastic. Shout out to them, but this is a top 10 video, and I feel like it would be cheating if I were to choose things that my own community had created. So they are being not included in this, so please don't be mad, Vooperians. I'm just being fair. Alright, next up after that is gonna be the Dynamic City, if I can find it. I don't know if it made it onto the front page. I don't think it did make it onto the front page, but it's got to be up there because it is fantastic. So let's see if we can find it. Dynamic City, Destroyable Castle. These are all good. These are all good, but the Dynamic City is just one step ahead. Okay. Dynamic City, here it is. The Dynamic City is a really awesome map, especially if you're a cheater like me and try to pause the game and fix things and, you know, try to see what you can do to save or destroy a map. This map will slowly destroy itself, and even if you try to prevent its demise, a lot of the time you're not going to succeed because there's so many things going on at the same time. You have these pipes clogging up with the plants, you have all of this salt which is eroding away this iron and causing things to collapse. You have these tunnels which are slowly starting to erode and collapse. You have this acid which is going to explode at some point. It is just all around so much detail, and as time goes on, it tells a story. And a lot of maps don't do that, they're just static, but this map really tells a story with what it does, and I'm a huge fan of that. I'd love to see more maps like it in the future. It makes for really good content. I got some good videos out of this, and yeah. This one's actually, I really like this one. Maybe this one should be a higher up in the list, but, you know, I'm just kind of going in the order things come to mind. Look at that, once this gets to this point, the salt starts mixing into this water, which kills the plant, because salt water kills the plants, and that's going to cause it, it's just a fantastic chain of events. Everything about it is just well designed. The person who made this, you know, thought one step at a time what was going to happen. And there is a little bit of randomness in the powder toy, so every time you play it will be a little bit different, but overall, really damn smart how this was built. And now the salt water is going to erode away this. Oh my god, it's just the amount of the ingenuity behind this is just so good, and using really awesome methods like this anti-air and stuff to make it so that things collapse realistically. It's just such a good job. So yeah, that's definitely going to be number 7. I think we're on number 7. I think we're on number 7, but who even knows at this point? Now the rest of these are going to be a little bit more challenging to choose. Alright, for number 8, I'm going to be choosing this nuclear reactor. I was looking through a lot of the different nuclear reactors in the game because it's one of the most awesome parts of the powder toy. But I think the thing that does it for me about this nuclear reactor, this boiling water reactor, is look at the just artistic detail that's been put into it. This isn't just an engineering marvel. This is definitely beyond my skill in art, and probably beyond most of us. It was just fantastic. This doesn't even look like the powder toy anymore. This looks like some sort of like 90s 2D game. It's so good. And of course, you can control everything in the nuclear reactor. You can control the control rods. You can turn on everything. You can turn off everything. It's just crazy. The amount of effort that went into this, all the way down to having actual dials instead of just numbers. It's very, very impressive, the amount that they managed to do with this. And I am a huge fan. Huge fan. And of course, you can just toss plutonium into it if you get bored. I never managed to run these reactors properly, but you can almost always count on me blowing them up eventually. So at least I'm consistent. Oh boy. Okay, so for 9 and 10, I'm not actually sure where I'm going to go. I've got a few maps on my mind. A lot of these are really good. I mean, Destroyable City 5 definitely gets an honorable mention because it's just been here for so long. But I think not that submarine, but there was a submarine map that I just had a super good time with. Oh man, these are all really good. Was this the one? I don't know. I just really like submarines in the powder toy. They're a ton of fun because once you start getting things leaking into them, you have the fluid dynamics where things just pour in, they fill up. You can have things like rubidium that explode. And actually, you know, I'm gonna give it number 9 to all of the simulated military gear because there is a lot of it. Like if you just search up tank, there's so many of these concept tanks, super tanks, heavy tanks with the little people inside, and you can just go around and you can just try to break them. You can try to fire them. There's so much you can do with them, and honestly, the community that makes these does an excellent job in the powder toy. So I'm not going to choose one of them over the rest. I'm going to say this entire category is definitely in the top 10. because you can have a ton of fun, especially when it comes to trying to make improvements to things like the shielding of the tanks and seeing what you can do personally to save the lives of the poor people inside of the tanks. Like my very awful attempt here, which is not going to do much against this nuclear attack. They didn't expect it to be nuclear. Oh, it actually... They didn't die. Interesting. I can fix that. Boom! Alright. Yeah. No, I love those. I do never shoot a gas tank. Now, number 10. This is hard. I've went through a lot of my favorite things already. But there is the fusion... What is it called? Life cycle of a star? Yeah. So this map is really special. I'm a huge fan. This needs to be on. This needs to be off. I just don't want to be able to see the gravity field. There we go. This map's really awesome. I still don't completely understand how it works, but it does actually simulate the life cycle of a star. It has all the information about the different steps, and you can just kind of watch it go. Sometimes it takes a little bit for it to get started, but overall, I think it's one of the highest quality things here, just because it always works, and it's super unique and original. Look at that. A star has been formed. And I don't know how accurate, but overall, I think it's just really awesome. Kind of looks like the Eye of Sauron, so it definitely gets points for me. I think it's an excellent, excellent map, and I'm giving it number 10. So those are my top 10 favorite maps, or categories. I think a lot of those maps turned out to just be categories of maps instead, because there's so many good things on the Powder Toy. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite map is on the Powder Toy, and maybe I'll go check them out. No plugging yourself though, because that's lame. Don't plug yourself. I'm joking. You can plug yourself if your map's good. I won't be offended. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Hopefully soon.